All right, and let me go ahead and get that music turned down a little bit. But you gotta love that Salvaged Destiny opening theme. Super exciting, bumping. Some might even call it thumping, but probably just me. I don't think anyone else would say that. But I digress. Welcome everyone to Session 2 of MechWarrior Destiny. Joining me today are four of my friends who I've convinced, or maybe they convinced themselves, to pretend to be mech pilots, or maybe they actually are mech pilots and they're just living out their reality in this fantasy world. I don't know, but it's going to be fun. We are here and we're about to have some fun. Artemis, always good to see you, my friend. Hype, hype, hype. Let's go. And really, that's enough out of me. I'm the game master. I tell the story along with them. I kind of set the field and then they interact with this fantasy. I'm going to shut up. Hey, Lawrence, tell us a little bit about your character. Go for it. Or it's Anders. Anyway, I digress.
Hi, I'm Anders. I'm playing Lawrence, the rather formal Lyran slash Davian mech warrior. And yeah, pilot of Valkyrie, and we'll see how this all goes.
Glorious. Strom, fill us in, my dude.
How's it going? Strom here. I'm playing Arthur Willowburn, a fast-talking, wise-cracking, sort of good-hearted, good-natured little asshole.
You forgot human target.
I didn't forget. There's no targets yet. It's not a live fire situation.
True. Not this time. All right.
Yeah.
I will concede.
I love
But
it.
don't worry, I have my shirt.
Steve, fill us in, my dude.
I'm Steve, and I'll be playing Cyprian Devon, son of a military man who has been shoved into a military career he didn't really want.
Ah, very good. And last and certainly least, I'm not going to say her name. It's not worth it.
Yeah, hey guys, I'm Aaron. I'm going to be playing Callum Van Buren. He is a bastard, you son of a bitch. He's a war orphan from the Free Rosselhog Republic, orphaned during the clan invasion. He pilots a wolfhound, and he is in a military life he absolutely does want.
Very good. Very good. Very good. And as stated, I am the Game Master Dale Wolf. Super happy to be here and super excited for Session 2 of Salvaged Destiny. We open our scene a week after last session's War Games. Both Delta Company A, you guys, and Delta Company B had taken part in a failed on the part of Delta Company B's ambush and a successful, I guess, defeat of said ambush by Delta Company A. And over the last week, Delta Company B, their quote-unquote punishment has been to do laps around their mech bay, which is in a different part. It's close by to your mech bay, but in a different area, just a couple hundred yards away from you guys. They've been doing laps from the morning. So as the sun begins to rise, or as soon as it crests, that first ray of light hits the side of their mech bay, they are having to run around the mech bay, just do calisthenics, jog around the mech bay all morning until the sun fully rises and the bottom part crests the horizon and is fully risen. So they've been doing that all week long, and they look a little tired. They look a little worn out. As far as their spirits, you all have noticed that your friend Yinny seems a little put off, and you've noticed that whenever she is near or around Callum, there's a silence. She's a bit of a talkative person, but there's a silence that washes over her, and she has a hard time making eye contact with him. As far as George is as smiley and laughy as ever. Him and Helen, everyone knows about their quote-unquote secret relationship, but doesn't really talk about it. They seem in good spirits. But really, Alan seems the most upset and the most, I hesitate to use the word vengeful, but he seems a little put off by it. With that said, we open our scene in the mech bay, and similar to last session, we have each of you buy your mechs. Over the week, you've been given really some free time to take them out, do some, practicing of patrols, to do target practice, really whatever you want. Live fire has been fully authorized, and you are just a few months away from actually being deployed to your, at least for the time being, permanent positions in the Palace Guard for the good Duke Eric Desari. But we open again with, we're actually going to start with Callum. And Callum, you are next to, or near to, one of the mech techs, the lead mech tech, Richard or Richie. And he's once again looking at the Wolfhound. And he's got that look on his face that just says, I want to say something cheeky, but also I'm going to say something cheeky. And he looks to you, and you could just see that ever so slight smile in the crook of his mouth, right in the corner, like he's gonna say it. And I want to give you a moment to either respond before he speaks, or to let him say whatever he's going to say.
I think, yeah, Callum will just gesture with his hand, like, come on.
Okay, so I know we talked about this, like Wolfhound, right? Kind of
Yep.
looks like a wolf, but what if? And I want you to hear me out. What if? No. That cord goes over. No, you. God, it's hard to find good mech text. Yes. Okay. Good. If you would have put it in the other hole, it would have blown up. That's bad. Don't want to blow up Wolfhound in the gantry, right? Okay. Yeah. It's first day of the job. I digress. Anyway, so Wolfhound, right? So it kind of looks like a wolf, but not really. I mean, sort of, right? It doesn't have fangs. What if it's not about the Wolfhound of the mech, but the wolf it brings out inside the MechWarrior?
Right, but you keep saying that a wolfhound, that the wolfhound doesn't look like a wolf because it's not supposed to. A wolfhound is a dog. It's a hunting dog, not an actual wolf. So it's a dog breed.
Why they just name it like the Doghound or something?
Well, because doghound has this connotation of this lazy kind of, sniffing around for things. Wolfhound sounds more dynamic, and we talked about this. It's graceful and dynamic,
Right.
and dangerous, and
Yeah. No, I'm telling you, I think they were trying to be like deep and insightful, and I think they fucked it up. And he just glances over at the Wolfhound and just looks at it. You can see him. He like goes to yell at the guy again, but then the guy goes to put in one of the mech techs is like up there, just connecting one of the like plasma cords. He's going to plug it in, and he looks down. And he goes, "Wait, okay, right." And then he plugs it into the right hole.
You ever think about coding the chords?
Yeah, but then I wouldn't get to yell at people, and then the sergeant would wonder why I was even here. Job security. It's a thing that you have to look after yourself, right? I'm just telling you, man. Wolfhounds. I'm saying I think there could be a better. And with that, he continues on for a while here, but we're gonna pivot over actually to Lawrence. And Lawrence, you are next to your mech, and the actual mech tech isn't there. So the good old Dina Saren, the fast talking, super like just worships mechs as though they are some sort of like deific idol. She's actually over working with Willow, and you've got a moment just to kind of be next to your mech. What would you be doing? Let's say you just got up, you've walked over, you're maybe giving it its once over. Describe to us a little bit about what you'd be doing in the morning. What's your morning routine?
Lawrence is actually going to think about ways to improve his mech, not in any like highly don't think of like a mech tech or like getting out plotting paper and like drawing dynamics of schematics. He's literally, think of a kid with crayons adding big machine guns all over his mech, and that's kind of what Lawrence is doing. He's got to think of ways, because he really doesn't like the long range missile launcher. Honestly, he doesn't think that that's good for a light mech really to have. He's gonna be in a very unformalized way is going to try to make it more close quarters specific, since it's a light mech, and that's all I can think of to do with a light mech.
So imagine, if you will, and please stop me if this isn't how you're imagining it, but you've got a notebook, nice, large, a little bit bigger than your standard sheet of paper. Almost looks like a drawing book. It's got some blank white paper, and you've got how good of an artist is Lawrence? I mean, does it look good? Does it
No.
look like okay? It looks like a crayon.
It's stick figures
That is
representing a mech.
Chef's Kiss beautiful. Love you, Anders. That's great. So you are drawing this blob that is probably a mech, but you're not sure. And from over your shoulder, you hear Yinny, and she's just snickering. She's just laughing a little bit. Just what? I
What is so funny?
what are you doing? Is that supposed to be? Is that supposed to be your mech? Because that looks like a I don't even know what that looks like, but that's not a mech. What, did you drop out of art school or something? I can see why. And she just starts to burst into laughter. And in fact, that laughter starts to echo throughout the entire mech bay. And everyone that is not paying attention very intensely to something else glances over to you for a moment to see Yinny almost like keeled over, just laughing her ass off. And you standing there looking like what?
Lawrence is more confused because it's not supposed to look good. This is very much just him being like, well, we could do this, but that might, interfere with this. It's not supposed to be like, yes, I got the light coming out of the mech. It's literally just him being like, oh, the missile launcher leaves us room for this, but I can mount lasers on the arms, maybe put an autocannon on the hip. I don't know. He's like, so he will respond and be like, it's not supposed to look good. It's supposed to be, it's planned. This is what I want to do. This is not, you think I engage in art? This is not the case.
And she stands up straight, kind of brushing down the front of her jacket, and wipes a tear from the laughter away from her eyes, and says, "I'm just fucking with you. Have you heard the rumor going around? Curious? Anybody talk to you recently? Anything?" She gets a little closer to you.
Rumor of what?
Well, a little birdie told me that we might be getting some R&R this weekend. I mean, it is Friday. I think, maybe a night on the town could be fun.
I do not. I have heard of that. I do not place bets on things that will disappoint me.
God, you are so dense. And she gives you a strong jab, just thunk, right in the shoulder. It stings slightly, and it's more playful than anything. And she says, "If we go out, pool, you and me, I'm beating you this time."
Oh. We shall see. I will leave it at that.
And she gives you a smile, turning away from you and looking back across the way at the direction of Callum. And Callum, I'm curious, would you have been one of the folks that turned and looked at the laughter or tried to see where the laughter was coming from, or would you have been focused on whatever was going on with your wolfhound?
No, because I would have turned because all Richie is doing is talking shit. So it really doesn't bother me to miss that because I know I'm not going to miss anything important.
It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So Yinny's eyes, for the first time since the war games took place, actually lock on with yours, and they linger there for a moment. And I'd like you to make a check here, and it's going to be if you have either negotiations, if you have anything that would go along the lines of like protocol, something like that. Go ahead and make that roll. I'm gonna go ahead and set the DC here real quick, and so you're looking at a DC of 8.
I don't have any of those, so would
then
we
just charisma plus charisma?
Oh, that's bad. Let's see, skill check.
Oh, so despite your lack of protocol, despite maybe not being the most the best, I would say, at reading people. You know that Yini is that look on her face, the narrowing of her eyes. It isn't anger. It isn't any sort of vengeance or wanting to get back at you. It's disappointment. And it's deep. It's heavy disappointment. And her eyes, as they linger there for 1 second, 2 seconds, 3, then she very quickly looks away, then looks back to Lawrence. And you hear her say, well, I'm going to stay hopeful. Here's to Pool. And then she's going to turn and walk very tightly next to the gantries that are on the opposite side, pivot past Willow. She'll nod her head and just say, hey, Willow. And then she's going to continue on down and actually head towards the large garage door of the mech bay. And as she passes Willow, we're actually going to keep the scene on with Willow. And Willow, you are next to the other head mech tech, Dina. And Dina has some schematics, and she's flipping through them very quickly. And she says, wait a minute. So wait, if we modulate, okay, I don't think we can modify that because that would actually crisscross, and that would be an issue with the subsystem 4. And then, but if we did, okay, I think I can get at least 3% additional speed out of the mech, but it's going to sacrifice about 4% efficiency when it comes to your firepower. So I think it's a good trade-off technically, because if you're a little bit faster, you're harder to hit, but also,
It's
man,
just an arm. All you
What?
need to do is put an arm back.
I mean, but oh man,
Listen.
I could put the arm back, but I mean, if we did, we could do a smaller arm, because your mech hasn't been fixed yet, and I'm really glad that you remembered that, because I didn't have to reference to you. So you're still missing an arm. They actually haven't had a chance to fix it yet, and you know how the military can be sometimes with logistics. They just haven't gotten the parts in. So she looks both very upset by the fact that the mech is still in damaged condition, but also is trying to come up with some sort of idea to improve. I mean, hey, damaged mech, that's an opportunity to maybe improve upon the design. So she's starting to go over these different options with you. And she says, well, we could go with a slightly smaller arm, maybe a little bit less armaments. And I mean, with the with less tonnage, I could probably get a little extra speed. I mean, if you're fast and you won't get hit again, you can't get... Willow?
Dina.
Yeah.
Do you know who worked on the mech last?
It was me.
It was you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did.
And do you know what you said last time you had it? That it was perfect. So if you mess around with perfection,
Right.
what are you doing?
Ruining perfection? Is that
Exactly.
right?
So just put an arm back on it.
Right.
Put it back the way you had it before,
Okay.
and you don't have to worry about it.
Flip,
We all
flip,
know
flip,
you're the
flip.
best mech tech here.
At the mention of best mech tech, this genuine smile crosses her face for a second. And then it goes back to that kind of frantic, just a little bit out of it kind of look that she has all the time. She smiles, goes back, and then flips through, and then she takes this... Imagine she has this clipboard, and there's just a pretty big, thick stack of mech specs on it. There's like the internal structure, there's weapon systems, there's power systems, and she just flips it all back and tucks it underneath her left arm, just like secures it there, holds onto it with both hands. You're right. I'm the best, and the best should just do their best, and I'll do my best, and I'll put it back to... Don't you dare touch that mech! And she pivots over. You see a mech tech was walking over to like start to do some repairs, and he stops. He slowly backs away, and she says, don't fucking mess with perfection. How
Just back away. Back
dare
away slowly.
you? And the guy's
Back away
like...
slowly. Her vision is based on movement.
And he stops, he freezes. And she's
Willow will
just
put
glaring
his-
at him.
Willow will put his arm on Dina's shoulder and say,
Oh,
Dina, we all know you're the best here.
right.
That's why you're here.
Yes.
And
Best.
Penelope, you're her best friend.
Yep.
She
Penelope's
trusts you
great.
implicitly.
Love you, Penelope. You're good. Penelope, I'm sorry I
don't
yelled
worry.
at you. And she's going to walk over, and you see Penelope is
No,
there.
Penelope's the mech.
Oh, Penelope's the mech. Excuse me. So you see Penelope. She looks over at Penelope. Yes, you're my best friend. I love you. And you're perfect. I'm going to put you back together, girl. She moves over slowly. And she like puts her hands on one of the feet. And you see there's some little bit of dirt, slight scorch marks where one of the blasts, the medium lasers, had like lanced up and scorched, or some melted, slagged metal, and she just like slowly puts her hands on it, setting down the clipboard just next to it with a very gentle, very thoughtful set. Puts her hands on it, almost like it's a Bible. Puts her hands on it, and then puts her other hand on the mech. And she goes, "I'm gonna heal you. I promise."
As she's not looking at the mech tech, he looks over her shoulder and goes,
"What does he say?"
"Just
go. Oh. And he sets down the tools that he had and then slowly backs away, and then you see him like scurry off across the way and head over to Cyprian's mech, where maybe he can get a little bit of work done. I think that's a great scene transition. Loved it, Strom. Thank you. So moving over to Cyprian, you are similar to Lawrence. You're alone with your mech, and how would you be handling the mornings? What is your average standard morning routine? Obviously, you want to come, you want to look at your mech, you want to make sure everything's in working order. What would you be doing at this moment?
He would have a clipboard with the specs of the mech and just be going down, down the list of all the things that he needs to check. Start with this and then move on to the next thing, and literally just methodically going through all of the different, all the different systems. When he gets to the end of one of them, maybe jumping into the pilot's seat and just testing out, firing up the motors and then running them back down again.
I like it.
Cycling some of the chain guns.
I like that. I like that a lot. So you are, going through just your standard procedures, making sure that everything is running smoothly, etc. And there's a not one of the head mech techs, but one of the lower mech techs. His name is actually Tom. And Tom is really the next in line to get promoted to like senior mech tech, so where he would have like a group of individuals that work under him. And he's standing there with you. And as you're going through this clipboard, you get ready to get up. He walks over to you. He goes, "Everything looking good? Any issues, pilot?"
So out of character, are there any issues with it?
You tell me.
Okay. He will sort of pause what he's doing, look up at the mech, and put a tick in the next box down there on his list, and go, "Everything's adequate."
That's good. Good. Yeah, I mean, of course it is. I mean, it would be, of course we wouldn't send you out there with broken piece of machinery. That's great. I was wondering if I could ask you a favor. So I've been working alongside Richie, and I mean, I'm sure you know that I am, next in line for potential, promotion. Do I have to say this all, like, do I have to go, I was wondering if you could maybe put in a good word for me with the sergeant. That would be awesome. I mean, you're a pilot, so you've got a little bit more pull than just a guy.
Cyprian will just sort of hold his finger up and go, "Oh, okay, it's fine."
Really?
What
you do that?
What was the last mech that you worked on?
It was yours. This one right here.
Okay. And what Cyprian, what I want Cyprian to do is to point out 2 or 3 things that he could do better and improve upon. So he'll say, talking about the heat sinks for the medium lasers, actually what you need to do is if you make sure that you increase the voltage and decrease the current, that will ensure that the heat sinks work slightly better, and just go through 2 or 3 things that you could improve upon.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's awesome. I definitely could do that. And what I'd like you to do here, Cyprian, is I'd like you to roll a. Do you have like what skills do you have? Do you have like a mech like repair skill? Do you have?
I have knowledge, mech tech, and
yes,
technician, and
perfect.
tech empathy.
We're gonna go ahead and roll that roll. I'm gonna go ahead and set the DC here for you really quick. And your DC you're looking for is only an 8. Not bad. I'm rolling. I can't roll for crap today. So go ahead and roll that check, and let's see how good of advice you give him. 15. Holy crap! So everything you say is 100% on fire, on point, and you see him reach down and pick up another clipboard because apparently in Delta Company A's mech bay, everyone has clipboards. It's just kind of their thing. So he's just taking notes. He's like, yeah, okay. Oh my God, why did I think of that? Maybe you should be doing my job and I should be piloting the mech.
Cyprian's going to sort of raise an eyebrow and be like, yeah, I know, right?
I was kidding. Right. Anyway, yeah. So no, I could definitely get all this stuff done, and thank you very much. I got that's I don't care what they say about mech pilots. You guys are okay. They say good things, of course. They would never say bad things. Just like you, hopefully you'll say good things to the Sarge. And at the mention of the sergeant, you see the sergeant walking in from and out from his office, which he's got a little office right over at the south side of the mech bay. And so he walks out, and as he walks out, he looks around. You see Yinny is leaning against the door frame, the giant door frame. She's just leaning against it, looking out, smoking a cigarette. And as soon as the sergeant comes out, he looks over. She throws it down, stamps it out, and tries to, brush the air away in front of her because, smoking, that's not good for you, especially not a mech pilot. But he makes the order. MechWarriors, on deck! And commands everyone to line up in front of him. And moving out of the side rooms, you see Delta Company B lining up, and everyone else is ordered to move in as well. Well, good morning, Mech Warriors. How was your last day of calisthenics, Delta Company B? Very good, sir! And they all say it in unison. He looks over to Delta Company A. How go the repairs on your mechs, Delta Company A?
We'll just silently point over his shoulder at Dina, who is, I'm sure, still lovingly embracing Penelope.
Bingo. He nods. Very good. Well, the powers that be, being, well, me, have deemed it so that you all will have... Well, we have a few days of R&R. I'm just going to come right out and say it. Once again, he reaches into his coat pocket, pulls out a cigar, clips the end, puts it in his mouth, takes out this little Zippo lighter that has the symbol of the fist, clench, the blue, your symbol of the Confederation. And he pops it, lights it. You're going to get some time off. You've all been working hard. You've done your duty, as it were. So tonight and tomorrow, they're yours to do as you see fit. You can spend time here. You can head into the big city. Hell, you can do whatever the fuck you want. The only thing you can't do is embarrass yourselves. And I can trust each and every one of you fine pilots not to embarrass yourselves or the Corps. Is that correct?
Sir, yes, sir.
Sir, yes, sir.
Very good. Well, see that your mechs are in fighting order. And after that point, you're free to do as you see fit. Dismissed! And he turns on a little dime on his foot, starts marching over, and heads over to Dina. And as he gets over, he kneels down next to her, and you can see him having a conversation with her, but she's kind of half ignoring him and still worshipping both the mech specs and the mech warrior, or the mech itself, and he's trying to get her to stand up. And you hear him say, "You're embarrassing yourself." And she says, "They must be honored. They must be revered." And we're going to move over to you guys with Delta Company B, Delta Company A, all standing around. You hear George start to talk about, "Oh, we got to go into the city, man. This is the best news I've heard all week. I know a couple of great spots. I actually grew up in the big city. It is fantastic there. Oh, hell, we could get drinks. Oh, we could go to a club. Oh, my God, they have the best burgers. Oh, man, we got to go into town. We got to go to town. I haven't had a good burger in forever. I mean, don't get me wrong. The slop that they have here, George, shut the fuck up." Helen looks to him, and she looks to everyone else. "So, we sticking together, or we parting ways?"
Whose mech was it that we exploded last time?
That was, if I remember correctly, that was Alan's.
Yeah, Alan Siege's, I believe. Yeah.
So Cyprian's going to go and ask him if his mech is all, has he got a new mech, or have you managed to fix it? Did you want any help?
Are you asking me if the mech that you guys slagged a week ago is in working order?
Well, have you not been working on it?
No. Just Cyprian. I want to be clear that you're asking me if the mech you motherfuckers slagged a week ago is a week later put back together and ready to run.
No, I'm sensing some hostility here.
Shut the
Alan,
fuck up, Willow.
Don't be a dick, Alan.
You know what?
Cyprian's going to
And
hold his hand.
It was a fucking... We were out there playing war games. You were supposed to blow my shit up. And I got nothing.
Cyprian,
I got no mech now. And he starts...
Cyprian's
all of his anger starts coming out.
He's going to hold his hands up and be like, well, I mean, tactically, you positioned yourself for an ambush, but you had no backup of what you were going to do if the ambush failed. You had a single point of attack. So you should have thought about that before you'd put all of yourselves in one single position.
Yinny starts...
the whole thing was an ambush that went wrong. And
Yinny starts to pivot over to Alan, but before she can get to him, Cyprian, he's going to throw a punch at you. And we're going to actually not necessarily drop into combat, but a punch is going to come. And actually, I'm going to ask Aaron, double check here. Is there a counter roll to melee combat? Because I know you know the system a little bit better than I. What's the counter roll for like a melee swing?
It would just be melee. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So he's going to throw a melee swing at you. And I'm actually going to just roll. He's a bigger guy. You know, he works out at the gym a lot. He's got a pretty mean right hook, and he's going to throw a swing at your jaw. He's trying to knock you out. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to give him 4d6 to set the DC. And that is a 12. So if you have melee, you can roll it as well, or if you just have strength.
Upon seeing this, Lawrence, who has already walked over at seeing the thrunch being thrown, he's going to try and dry gulch Alan. Punch him in the back of the head.
Oh my god! I love it.
Amazing.
I love it. Okay,
Sucker,
so let's resolve the swing at Cyprian. So go ahead and roll if you don't have a melee skill, then you would just roll 2d6 plus strength plus strength.
Ooh, I do actually.
Oh, so he cold cocks you. It is just a thwack in the back of the right in the side of the jaw, and we're gonna leave that there because simultaneously Lawrence has moved up and is gonna try to just punch him in the back of the head. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm still gonna give him a chance to resist, but his skill check's only gonna be a 2d6 to set the difficulty. So he does roll. He does roll pretty well, actually. Surprisingly enough. Wow, that is aggressive. So I digress. But with that being said, go ahead and roll your... Oh, no, wait. I did that wrong. I'm sorry. 2d6. Hold on. 4. Okay, it's a 4. It's a 4. So I think you can roll better than a 4, right?
My modifier is +4 to melee combat.
Well, go ahead and roll. Let's see how badly you knock him out. That is a 5.
A
So here's what happens. This scene plays out as follows. We see Alan just from his hip pull up and just boom, right across Cyprian's face. Now I'm going to leave it up to you, Cyprian. Was the hit strong enough to knock you off your feet and knock you out? Or did it just knock you off your feet? I'm going to leave that up to you. Don't answer quite yet. Okay. Anders, your hit. I'm going to leave it up to you. Does that knock him out or just knock him to his feet?
I'm going to say that one of the few things that Lawrence does have is like he's not a hard hitter, but he's a finesse hitter. So I'm going to say, yeah, it just hits back of the skull.
And he's just down. And he's out cold. Boom. So Alan hits the ground. Just ka-thunk. Yinny goes, oh, fuck. There goes R&R. She moves over to block sight. You see George and Helen move in to kind of block view. The good sergeant hasn't noticed the fight as of yet. You've got Tom over there who's watching this with his clipboard like, oh, fuck. He looks back at his clipboard, turns back to the mech, and looks up as Callum makes that little motion. And I want to pivot back to Cyprian. Did you get knocked out or just knocked on the ground?
Just knocked down.
Perfect. So your jaw hurts. You can feel it starting to swell up. It didn't break your jaw, but it hurts a lot, and you're definitely going to have a nice bruise, maybe a little lump there. Callum, it looked like you had something to say.
Well, I mean, maybe before everything jumped off, but now I think this is going to be one of the times where Callum's where this probably isn't going to look good for the unit. So he's going to actually go. So the sergeant, where's the sergeant? He's over, but with Dina. He's over by the
Still trying to get her to stand up, and she's like holding onto the mech's leg, like won't let go, and he's like, just get up.
And I think Callum's going to actually trot over to the sergeant and ask him to come and take a look at something on the wolfhound that's been bothering him, to just get him farther away from the scene.
Love it. So as Callum walks away from the group, you walk over, Sergeant looks up to you and motions to Dina, like, can you do anything about this?
No, but I know somebody who can. And also, sir, we may be able to kill two birds with one stone. There's something with the wolfhound that I need to discuss with you.
Of course, Callum. And Dina, just get on your feet. Do your job. And he gets up, and the two of you make your way over, and you see Reggie is actually up in the gantry, and he's talking with one of his mech stacks. Unlike Dina, they're not necessarily polar opposites, but Reggie's a lot more. Even though he'll yell at him, he'll go up, he'll apologize. Hey, I'm sorry I yelled at you. Let me explain exactly how this works. And you know what? Actually, one of the mech warriors made a great suggestion. We should color code these things. I'm going to leave you in charge of that. Oh, hey, Sergeant. Hey, Callum, back again. Hey, I got some more thoughts on the whole wolfhound thing. And
right.
Go ahead. You guys, you can form a nice distraction as that all takes place. I like that a lot. And then back in the group, Callum, you're on the floor. Are you getting right back up? Are you rubbing your jaw? What are you doing?
I will hold out my hand
to Cyprian, excuse me.
To Cyprian to like help him out if he wants it. He can get up if he wants. Or
he'll take the hand and like rub his jaw and take the hand and stand up, and we're like, I was only offering if he wanted a hand fixing his mech.
Guys, I won't say he's an asshole, but he's in a bad spot. And I will go over and help try and either, if they're trying to wake him up, I will help them try and wake him up.
They're trying to wake him up, but you knocked him out so good, it's going to be a minute or two. And so they're trying to pick him up and drag him over to the either the mess hall or the barracks area so that they can get him out of the sergeant's sight.
If they will let me, I will help bring him to a more appropriate place to be passed out.
Yep, Yinny's got his one arm, you've got his other arm, and Yinny, and Alan are all dragged off. George and Helen look to each other. There's bemusement on their face, and George looks over to Willow and says, well, that escalated quickly.
Yeah, you're telling me. I couldn't even get into quips.
I know. Oh my god, I was waiting for it. Alan's been pissed like the whole week, and I knew it was gonna happen. I absolutely knew it was gonna happen. And I just, of all people, it was Cyprian, which is, no offense, man. Like, you're awesome. I know you should definitely be a mech tech rather than a pilot, but you're a pretty good pilot too. Holy crap, that was wow.
I can't believe it wasn't me.
Also, I gotta ask, like, I wasn't in command of the ambush, but how the hell did you know we were there?
Well, you see, that guy over there who just had the shrewd tactical sense to go distract the sergeant, he is one hell of a bloodhound. Sniffed you out with his nose.
Bloodhound. Wolfhound. Oh my god, I get it. Holy shit, that makes sense. Okay, Reggie fucking Richie, the stupid mech tech guy. Anyway, we have different ones. Yeah, he's been trying to have this whole wolfhound debate with me whenever I'm here, and I keep telling him I think it's just a dog, and I get it. But it's not just a dog, like it's a really good dog, like a dog that can like do dog things really effectively, right? Am I crazy here? Does that make any sense?
But no, it doesn't make any sense. But thanks for the ammo. Now I can have something else to talk with Callum about.
Wow, that is. I feel like I've done something wrong here. Helen, can you
Don't worry about it too
help
much.
me out? And she just says, no, but you can call into the city and get us a hotel. And he goes, yeah, you know what? I can do that. And the two of them are going to make their way out of the.
Hey, but before you go,
Yeah.
make sure you invite me over to dinner. I want some of those burgers.
And George looks back and says, oh, yeah, I mean, we're all going. We're all going together. I mean, Delta Company for life. Let's go. Burger time at Burger Town is going to be awesome. Also, right. And he looks over at Helen, who's like, come on. And he's like, okay, yeah, I'm going. Look, I know the perfect place. It's not the most high-end hotel. It's like 2 stars, but, it's cheap. And, we are on military pay, so it's not that. And then they are out the door, and they make their way off towards the other mech bay, leaving Willow and Cyprian together. And do you guys interact? Do you just nod to each other and walk off? What do you guys do?
I pat Cyprian, and by pat I mean I give him a good slap on the back and say, "Wow, that was impressive. I never took you for, well, whatever that was."
What, a punching bag? I didn't mean to be a punching bag.
Well, you're pretty good at that too, but no, I was talking about the way you completely mishandled the social situation in such a way where it allowed him to spill over his emotions so aggressively.
This is what happens when I ask people if they want help.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, but you're in the military. There's just a bunch of assholes here, bigger muscles and brains.
Cyprian will mutter under his breath, is like, yeah, I know that.
Oh, you should stop asking people for help, or asking to give people help, unless they come to you. Mostly because they have bigger muscles and brains.
Point taken.
So
Point
how's your
taken.
jaw? That was a big hit.
He'll rub his jaw and be like, yeah, if we are going out for burgers, I am likely to end up having a milkshake burger.
At least you can still talk. I wouldn't know what to do if I got hit in the hot jaw so hard I couldn't talk.
Cyprian will just roll his eyes and be like, well, it'd give Callum some respite, I guess.
What a
And
shame
at
that
the
would be.
mention of respite, I think that is a great moment to transition. And when I say transition, we're going to move to later in the day. But I do want to give everyone an opportunity to have any scenes with any of the NPCs, other characters, anything else you guys would like to do prior to, grabbing a rack pack, piling everybody into it, and driving into the city to go and have some R&R, get some drinks, hang out, do whatever it is you guys want to do.
Willow would want to go see what's the where Alan when he
Alan?
wakes up.
Okay.
But
Alan,
like on his own.
yeah, Alan will be. They actually tuck Alan into one of the. There's these little like MechWarrior suites, and they tuck him into actually. They tuck him into your suite because it was the closest one, and it was open for whatever reason. So he's actually sitting on the couch as you walk in, both hands like arms on his knees, elbows on his knees, hands together like this, and he's steepled his hands like this, like put them together, and his nose is just resting on the top. And he's not speaking, he's just breathing very rhythmically and very methodically. And as you enter in to the MechWarrior suite, he doesn't look up, he doesn't say anything. You can see there's a little bit of a bump, a little welt on the back of his head. There's a ice pack on the couch next to him that is like wrapped. Just there's some ice. It was wrapped in a washcloth. It's damp. There's a little bit of it's like a fabric sofa. So there's a little bit of water that's pooled around it, and he's just sitting there. What do you say?
Oh, since it's my personal suite, as soon as I enter and the door shuts, I lock it, and I walk over in front of him and I say, "Now, why'd you go and do that for? He was just trying to help. I understand if you had that reaction to me. I have a reputation, one that I try my hardest to uphold, and now one that I'm doing my best to destroy having this conversation with you. But why'd you do that to Cyprian? Didn't mean nothing by it. You're the one who got screwed up in that thing. And as someone who also had his mech destroyed during that engagement, you can't blame others but yourself.
Give us a negotiations. And if you don't have it, it would just be 2d6 plus
I've got it.
14. Fantastic. So his eyes narrow for a moment, his elbows still resting on his knees, still leaning forward. The ice from the ice pack, the ice wrapped in the washcloth is just, you can see it growing, that kind of dark, wet spot next to him, and it's just about to touch the side of his leg, and he finally moves. He actually moves his leg to move away from this moisture that is pooling next to him. And he looks up to you. I don't know about you, Willow, but this is literally all I've got. And how the hell am I going to graduate if I get my mech blown up? And that... Look, I know he was trying to help. Look, I get it, all right? But he doesn't even want to be a mech pilot. Look, he's got options, okay? He comes from a military family, right? Like, he's got options. He could do something else. They've got money. I've got nothing. If I don't make this work, I end up on the street, man. I got
I know
nothing.
where you're coming from. Trust me. I know. I'm in the same boat. But you know what? You're not going to graduate to this place by having or not having a mech. One live fire exercise isn't going to determine whether or not you graduate. It's the conduct that you show. If you can't prove to the higher ups that you deserve a graduation, that you deserve to be in one of their mechs, then they're not going to graduate you. And do you think you deserve to be in one of their mechs with that outburst?
His eyes, he had looked up at you when he was speaking, and then he looked back down. He didn't quite return to this resting on his hands, but hands still together. He's looking down, and he looks back up at you. No, they're rubbing the back of his head. No, they wouldn't. That was stupid, and I assume since I'm not in the brig right now, you guys covered for me?
Of course, you're part of Delta Company. Even if you're a raging dick sometimes.
I do have a bit of a temper, don't I?
That's part of the charm.
You're a...
And Willow holds his hand out to get him up from the bench.
And, grabbing onto it like Arnold
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger and that other guy. Like, he
Yeah.
grabs
Throws him up.
Carl Weathers, thank you very
Carl
much.
Weathers, thank you very much. Thank you for that. You pick him
Who's
up,
that other
and
guy?
he like grabs onto it tightly, and he lingers there for a moment. If you ever tell anyone that I said this, I will bury you in the backyard of the mech bay. I can tell why you won that fight. You're a good pilot. Might even be a better leader. Thanks, Willow.
Well, thanks. Of course. And by the way, we don't have any backyards.
Fuck you. And he'll like shove you back, not like aggressively, but more of in like a kind of a playful, brotherly way. And then he'll unlock the door, and he goes, "I gotta go find Cyprian." And he's gonna head out, leaving you to yourself to prepare for heading out in the town tonight and through tomorrow. Anyone else? Any other scenes that they would like to have with any other NPCs, other players, anything like that? Anders, go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, and Aaron.
No,
Either
no.
one wants to go first.
No.
Aaron, go ahead.
No, Anders first.
Anders first.
You
That's
go.
fine.
So I think Lawrence is gonna have a talk with Yinny, because after all, he did just deck out one of their mech warriors.
Mhm.
And he's gonna be, I don't know what the best term for this, but sorry, not sorry might be the term. Because
Where
gonna
would
be-
you... Oh, go ahead, please, Anders.
I imagine it's gonna happen in the like the lunchroom where we are right now. Actually,
That's actually perfect. So you guys brought him in here, got him mostly woken up, dragged him over to the one open suite, put him in there, and allowed let him rest up for a little bit so that he could come back out. He's gonna go try and find Cyprian, and yeah. So you and Yinny are sitting down. In fact, Yinny has Yinny's is raiding the liquor cabinet because there's some liquor and she's poured what is Lawrence's favorite drink of choice. In fact, Yinny's gonna ask. So what's your poison?
I'm gonna be very cliche here and just say, a scotch.
Seriously? Basic. And she'll go and grab some scotch, 2 glasses. She'll grab some. There's actually a fridge there, and they have frozen stones, so you don't water it down. So she puts 2 stones in each, pours it in, and it's just about a third of the way full, just enough to where the top of the stones are covered, so you can do a little swirl. She sets one in front of you, sets one in front of her, raises it to toast you.
I will respond in kind, and I'll just drink it.
And
Yeah,
she'll
we'll clink and drink.
take a little slip, set it down. Well, that was something.
It yeah, it was. I sorry is not the right word because I was defending my teammate and my friend, but I do apologize for the inconvenience that this has caused you and for, well, possibly causing friction in the future, but I saw my friend in danger and I knew I had to act.
She frowns.
And I can only act in one way.
She actually gives you a little bit of a frown. Like her face looks like, what are you talking about? That's the expression that she gives. And she says, no, you defended your lance mate. You did what any good MechWarrior would do. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Alan. He's, well, when his mech's not getting slagged, he's one hell of a pilot. He's got a temper, though. And maybe she tilts her head back and forth, bringing the glass up. You hear the clinking as she does a little swirl with it. Takes a small sip, sets it down. Maybe this'll check himself before he wrecks himself, to use an old soul saying. He's got to learn to control it. Not really control it. He's got to learn to
Focus
the
it.
word? Exactly. Focus it. Channel it. If he does, I mean, that asshole will be unstoppable. And look, I don't know why the sergeant picked me to be the leader. I don't know. Maybe he sees something in me, but fuck, look, you didn't do anything wrong. And lifting her glass again, at the end of the day, we're all Delta Company, right? We're in this together. We graduate together. We defend the palace together. We make sure that Duke and his family are, well, safe. That's what we do. And friction, I think friction maybe brings us together a little bit, right? Or, I don't know. I'm trying to make a metaphor here, and I'm doing a real shit job. This scotch is stronger than I remember. And she'll take another sip and set it down.
I understand exactly what you are saying, and yeah. Again, hopefully this will give him pause because you can't do that. You have strong words are one thing, thrown hands are another. But I'm glad that we at least have no problem. So, and he will point at her and say, "Pool hall, 3 hours."
I'll be there in 2 hours and 45 minutes. I'm going to be warming up while you're fucking dragging your sorry ass in. You are going down. And then she will, cheers again, drink the last of it, set it down. I poured, you clean. And she'll get up and without saying another word is going to walk out of the mess hall and leave you to your own devices. And I wonder, and I want you to maybe describe Lawrence as she exits. You are in the mess hall by yourself. What is the expression? What is the look on your face? How do you look in this moment?
I'd say like he's kind of like just nodding and then like tilts his like just like the side smile, and then we'll clean up the scotch so that it doesn't look like we had 2 glasses of
We're
scotch.
drinking midday.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it. I absolutely love it. And with that, in this mess hall, there's actually like a large television, and it's been on this whole time. And because you were focused on the conversation at hand, you didn't really hear it. It just was kind of white noise. But as Yini leaves, you start cleaning up. You actually hear. And on the screen, you actually see there is a press conference being held, and it is Duke Eric Desari. And for those at home that don't know what he looks like, I'm going to go ahead and just put his token on the map so everybody can get a quick glance at him. And he is addressing a large crowd of reporters, civilians from the capital, the same city in which your Delta company is actually getting ready to head off to have some R&R, go get some burgers, play some pool, and apparently two of them get a hotel. But he says, "Citizens of Kantara's 4, citizens of Amishton, I come to you today to speak plainly. The actions of Catherine are not in line with everything that we as a people, a people that spans hundreds of systems, have been trying to establish. I, for one, will not stand for her aggressive actions. And I, for one, will not." And with that, we're just going to pivot away from that as you listen to him give this speech about how he is not in support of Catherine, not in support of the action she is taking, and is making a public declaration that he is standing against her and her policies, her politics, and her aggressive actions. The cameras are flashing, people are raising up, trying to get more questions, and it's a little chaotic. And from your perspective, the one camera that's far back, you can see the crowd. It's hard to really tell if the crowd is in support or in opposition of what the Duke is saying. It's very much kind of like a 50-50 as you see folks going, "You're crazy." You see other folks saying, "Down with Catherine." It's back and forth right now, but we're going to pivot away from that for a moment. And Yini is actually walking out. Callum, you've distracted the sergeant. I don't exactly know what you said, but it was good enough to where he believed you. He's actually talking with Richie, and as you maybe exit away from this conversation, you hear Richie go, "Sergeant, I got a question. Have you ever really thought about why they call it a wolfhound?"
Oh,
And
God.
the sergeant's like, "What do you mean?" And that just gives you a chance to exit that conversation. And almost comically, you and you can stop me, please, but you would maybe be heading down towards where everybody else went, and you are almost going to run into Yini. Like, you guys almost bump into each other, and she stops, maybe you stop, and she looks at you, and there's just this uncomfortable, like, how do I exit this conversation quickly as possible look on her face. Excuse me, pilot.
Hey,
yeah.
hang on a minute. You know, if I was Alan right now, I'd ask you what the fuck your problem is. But I'm not. Because I think I know.
What do you mean?
Well, after the war game, it's just been, weird.
Oh, it hasn't? It's not been weird.
Yeah. I mean, you don't really talk to me.
I'm tired.
You can't really look at me.
Morning. I mean, I literally am up from sun up till
sure.
I'm tired. Like, so I've just been distracted, because I'm trying to, focus on, going over the battle logs of everything.
Right. So what? But you don't seem to, be this way with anybody else in A company.
And we're gonna have you roll negotiations here.
I'm not good at that.
I know, it's gonna be great. I'm really excited about this. And I rolled an 11. Oh boy.
I can't. That's gonna be difficult because it's just gonna end up being charisma with me.
I believe. I believe. Come on. I'm so excited. So continue what you're saying, Callum. I want to hear you get everything out that you're trying to say, and then she's going to respond.
Yeah. You had a plan. It didn't work. I'm not going to critique it. I'm not going to shoot it apart. I'm good at my job. And you were literally powered down. I don't know what you expect to happen. But I will tell you this. I don't care. If you want to be awkward with me, if you want to ignore me, that's fine. But if we're ever in the field together, I want you to know that I will always have your back, regardless of how you feel about me personally. I'll fight for you, and I'll fight with you. That's all I wanted to say. Carry on, pilot.
And the look on her face says, I'm not ready to hear you. That's the look that
Cool.
that it says. But you can see a little bit of a glint in her eye that says, I'm not ready to hear you, but those words aren't going to leave me. And do you just walk away, Callum?
Yeah.
Perfect. Yini is left somewhat speechless by herself as you pivot around and head off to wherever it is you want to head. The last scene in this mech bay, unless anyone else has any other scenes they want to do, the last scene would be Yini standing there. She looks
Willow
over her
wants to.
Go ahead, Willow.
Yeah, Willow wants to take a huge shit.
Perfect.
Can
done.
we
We're
do that scene?
gonna fade
Only,
to black on
only
that.
if you roll, only if you role play it.
That's disgusting. You're fired. But I digress. So Yini will, in this moment, she will look over her shoulder, look ahead, stand up a little straighter, and then makes her way towards the exit. And right there, I think, is a great moment to go ahead and take our quick 5 to 10 minute break for today's session. When we come back, you guys will have headed off in the Rat Pack towards the capital city. It's actually pretty close. It's only a couple miles away. The mech bay is close, so that if anything ever came, push came to shove, you guys could get there quickly. But when we return, it will be later in the evening. You guys will have made your way into the city, and we're going to open up with you getting out of the Rat Pack and really having some choices of where you guys want to head off to. And in the meantime, for those that are watching, stick around. You'll see these fine gentlemen here in just a few moments. We're going to grab some water, go, I guess, take shits, whatever we want to do. Fucking A, Strom. Jesus Christ. Way to just fucking break the mood. I love it.
I think
But
you
we'll
need
be
a 10
back
minute
here.
break.
We'll be back here. It's 15 minutes. But we'll be back in about 5 to 10 minutes. Stick around. Thank you, everybody, for being here, and we'll be back shortly. All right. We are back to session 2, part 2 of MechWarrior Destiny Salvaged Destiny. We've got some music pumping, and I'm actually just going to kind of slowly fade the MechWarrior Destiny Salvaged Destiny opening theme away, and it's gone. But imagine, if you will, that song is actually playing in this bar right now, just constantly, over and over. They have one track that plays. Now, the good news is that Delta Company A and B made their way into the city in the Rat Pack, found a parking spot that was big enough. It was actually 3 parking spots to park that personnel carrier. And you guys had went out to dinner together as a company, had the best burgers. Now, when I say best burgers, I want to be very clear. These were like buffalo meat burgers. I mean, it wasn't actual buffalo. It was buffalo substitute. You know, it was probably grown in a lab somewhere, but it tasted like the real thing. It had like just whatever kind of cheeses you like on it. If you wanted bacon, it had bacon. And it was just this, you know, you ever bite into a burger or any meal for that matter. You take that first bite and it's so good that you have to set it down just to appreciate it. That is how good these burgers were. And, you know, not too expensive. And in fact, as an apology, Alan offered to pay for everybody. And you could have accepted it or not. I leave that up to you. But he actually stood up and said, I'm going to pay for the meal. If anyone gave him protests, he said, look, I'm sorry for my outburst. And he'll actually have looked to Cyprian directly, given you a nod. My question is, did you return the nod, Cyprian, or did you ignore him?
He would have, but sort of not embarrassingly, but it would be like, you know, sort of understated rather
Okay.
than.
I like that. I like that. As the evening progressed, it was very late, maybe around 7, 8 o'clock at night. It was just starting to get dark. The sun was starting to set. You had your burgers, you had your meal. And as you were all leaving the restaurant, to no one's surprise, absolutely no one's surprised, Helen and George disappeared from the group and went off to do whatever it is the two of them like to do in their free time, leaving the 6 of you. You've got Yinny from Delta Company B and Alan from Delta Company B with you to head off to one of the local clubs / bars that George had recommended. And you made your way there. The streets were, for a Friday night, you noticed that the streets were actually kind of sparse. There wasn't a whole lot of traffic, a couple people here and there, but it didn't seem as exciting and as, you know, maybe as thrilling as you might have expected a Friday night. And in fact, when you get into this bar that George assured you is one of the hottest places in town, beautiful women, handsome men, just great music. They've got the same track playing over and over. The bartender looks a little bored. And other than the 6 of you, there's a guy in a bowler top hat talking to a young girl with blue dyed hair in the corner, and that's it. And we're going to open our scene with Yinny and Lawrence. Yinny is lining up a shot. She's got one of those pool cue like helpers, like the little thing you can set the pool cue on, so it
the
helps you.
bridge.
The bridge, exactly. She's got that, and she's lining up a shot, and she's getting ready. And she looks over at you and she goes, you're not supposed to stand across from me. That's kind of like a faux pas. So if you could just move to the side, just to the side, Lawrence. You're not moving. Could you? There we go.
I will.
She's going to line it up. And then as she goes to take the shot, Callum, you are over on an arcade game. You're playing, what arcade game are you playing?
I'm playing an arcade game based on, so it's, all right. This is going to be a reference that not many people are going to get, but there was a BattleTech cartoon. And so it's the version of that, it's that version of the Clan Invasion, but it's like a beat 'em up game. So you're like wading through like hordes of, you know, enemies, just beat 'em up style.
You have been doing so well, but in this exact moment, as she goes to take her shot, you lose. The game goes game over. Boop, 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 boop. Do you have an outburst, or do you just casually step back from the game?
I think, I think maybe this is probably one of the only instances where you see him maybe lose his cool, and it's just, since it's so quiet in the bar with only one track, everybody would have no trouble hearing, this is bullshit.
As Yini goes to take the shot, we hear, this is bullshit. Her shot scrapes the side of the ball. It goes flip, 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 and she scratches. And she takes the stick, goes to raise it up and smash it, stops herself, takes it, sets it down next to her, almost like it's a rifle, just like stands up straight. It's your shot, Lawrence. It's your shot.
Does anybody have a C-bill?
Willow, Willow's gonna look at Yini and say, I can hold him still if you want. Give a
It's fine. I don't even care. Just gonna make winning all the more sweet. Like I said, Lawrence, it's your go.
Right.
Lawrence, in a game of pool, you were solids. There is one ball left, and she has 6. So I'd like you to make just a dexterity check, 2d6 plus your dexterity plus dexterity. I'm gonna set the DC here at 11, which is not terrible. But go ahead, Lawrence. You had something to say.
I don't mean to call you out, but do you mean reflex or intelligence? Sorry.
Did I say dexterity? Reflex. Yes.
Yeah.
Forgive me.
Okay.
I play way too much Pathfinder these days. At least, language, the only important part of language is being understood. So if you knew what I meant, that's what's important. But for those at home, it's reflex by that. Thank you.
Right.
Call me out. If I fuck up, call me out, man. It's all good.
Okay, fine. It's a rat. It's not a rat pack. It's a pack rat.
That's what I said.
Is it? And it's dexterity twice, right? Just making sure.
I've been listening to way too much. It's dexterity plus dexterity. I've been listening to way
Reflex.
too much.
Reflex.
Classic. No, at this point it's
I
dexterity.
fucked up.
Reflex. 8. Okay, so you go to take the shot, and imagine, if you will, Aaron, you did get another C-bill, and you're playing, and you get about 2 minutes into this next playthrough, and you're just so high strung that you fuck up again and lose, and it says game over.
And he's just gonna slam his fist into the machine and go, God damn it, Malthus is fucking impossible.
And you bet it through, and you see Yini smile and actually look over at Callum, and that smile stays for a moment. Callum, you don't see this because you're so focused on the game, obviously. And she goes, guess it's my shot. And that game continues back and forth for a little bit. Willow, what are you doing at this moment? I know you were kind of standing based on the position of your character token next to that pool table. What are you doing these days?
Willow's just, since there's no one in the bar, he is doing nothing but trying to eavesdrop on the conversation of the 2 other random patrons.
Okay. Did
And
you want to pivot
he's
yourself over to there a little bit more?
Yeah, he'll saunter over to, there. He's gonna pretend like he's watching Yini and Lawrence, but he's just gonna stand there listening to whatever they're talking about.
So what I'm going to have you do is I'm actually going to have you roll for us. And if you bear with me for just a second, I have to determine what skill I want you to roll for this. I would say on this one, we're actually going to make this a will. This is going to be will is what we're going to use on this. Or charisma. Charisma or will, whichever one you prefer.
So if I choose charisma, it's just charisma twice?
Yeah, or do you have anything like...
I have streetwise.
Yeah, I would let you do streetwise. Absolutely, I think that's a great skill to use. Yeah, 100%. That's perfect.
Skill check. That's pretty good.
You got a 10. All right, let me go ahead and set the DC. 10! Meet or beat, I believe. And Aaron, correct me if I'm wrong. They, as a player, do you have to beat the DC or just match the DC?
Just match it.
Perfect. Awesome. So you are listening in, and although you're not getting too close, but they're also not really trying to hide the conversation. They're talking quietly, but not at a whisper. And you see the girl looks nervous, but also maybe a little hopeful at the same time. And we pick up in the conversation mid-sentence. She goes, I can't afford that. That's too much. I mean, look, it's just me and my younger brother. I gotta get off planet. Things are not gonna go well. I mean, you've heard the rumors. Look, kid, I know you got this whole sob story that you're trying to give me, but look, the cost is the cost. You know how expensive it is to forge documents, to get you on a drop ship, to get you to the planet you want to go to. I mean, there's logistical nightmares that I got to go through here. And she says, but I don't have that many C-bills. Well, here's what I'll tell you. Do you want to go, or do you want to send your younger brother? I can't send you both unless you got the cash. And she looks, that look of hope is dashed, and now it looks like desperation. And she'll say, there's got to be something, anything that I could do. Please, sir, you've got to help us. And he leaves it. He goes, well, there is a job that I could maybe, you could do me a favor, and then maybe I do a favor for you. You're small, you can sneak around places, right? And she looks a little uncomfortable for a moment. She looks a little nervous, but then, I mean, what do you want me to do? I need you to, maybe deliver a package for me. It's nothing crazy, just a small little package. You do this for me. Maybe I give you a break on the price for your younger brother. I mean, he is only, half your size? And she says, yeah, I mean, he's only 6. If you could, I'll do it. I'll do it. Whatever it is, I'll do it. I'll make the delivery. And I'm going to leave it there as they continue this conversation. And he will actually say, okay, kid, you wait here. I'll be back in about 15 minutes. And we'll get this transaction going. And with that, he's going to stand up. As he stands up, Willow, in this moment, are you looking at the pool table? Or because of the content of the conversation, had your eyes drifted over to him? I'm going to leave that up to you.
So Willow, he's an old hat at this. He is practiced at looking at keeping his face in one direction, but allowing his peripheral vision, focusing on his peripheral vision.
I want you to roll a streetwise. I'm going to roll a DC. It is another 10. This is whether or not the gentleman sees it. And you know what? You're damn good at looking one direction and hearing another direction. That is fantastic. He gets up. He looks at the group. Busy night. And he is going to make his way out of the bar into the street. And the young girl is, when I say young, teenager. 16, 17, maybe almost 18. Looks to be a young adult. And she is just fidgeting ever so slightly, rubbing her hands together, and then she reaches into a little pocket, pulls out a small little, looks like a little phone or data device, and starts and then puts it up to her ear, starts making a phone call. I'm going to leave you there for a second, Willow, to think about what you want to do. Over at the bar, Alan has just ordered 2 drinks, and with those 2 drinks, he grabs the one, grabs the other, and he slides the drink down the bar towards Cyprian. And it slides past you, doesn't land right in front of you, doesn't stop, it goes just to the left. And then he lifts up his glass to toast you.
Cyprian will pick up the glass and sort of raise his glass as well.
As soon as you raise the glass, as you touch it, he slides up next to you. So, you said something about, look, how's your jaw?
It'll mend. It'll mend.
It's the human body, it's easier to put back together than a mech, right? Because, mine was exploded. I'm really bad at this, but I'm sorry I hit you.
Yeah, you should really take some help when it's offered. Nobody offers help in this world that often.
And at the mention of you should really take some help, and no one offers help, he gets this look of, it's about 25% of the look of anger you saw right before he punched you. But then he looks over his shoulder in the direction of Lawrence and Yinny. Lawrence, at this point, you've managed to... Yinny got 2 in, then biffed a shot. You're down to the 8 ball, and you're lining up your shot for the 8 ball right now, okay? You're in a good position to win this game. Yinny is sweating bullets. But he looks over and he sees Willow. And Willow, being really good at seeing, looking at one thing, doing the other, do you notice Alan looking at you in this moment is my question.
100%.
His eyes lock on yours. You see him just give a curt nod and then pivot back to Cyprian. You know what? You're right. I mean, we're all in this together, right? Like we're all Delta Company, hoorah. Maybe look, I'm gonna be honest, our mech techs aren't as good as yours. Jesus. Sarah's kind of a but anyway, yeah, I mean if you've got time and you're busy scheduled, maybe to come over and offer a hand, maybe give him some pointers. Okay, let go of all right. I would really appreciate it. There it is. Yeah, I would appreciate that, Cyprian.
Anytime, Alan. Just let me know.
Yeah, I mean I will. I'll do that. Yeah, absolutely. So
He's go on.
no, I mean you first. I mean I was just I mean you're actually taking this really cool. I figured you'd like be mad at me or something because I knocked you out and put
Well,
you
you
on
didn't
your
knock
ass.
me out.
I mean sure I did. I mean I got knocked out because your friend sucker punched me, but I mean I saw that hit. I threw that punch. I'm sure it took you a couple minutes to come back to consciousness. So like you don't have to be a big man. We're cool here, right? Like we're admitting our faults. You came at me a little strong. I threw a punch.
Cyprian's going to just hold his hand up and be like, Alan, we're not doing this all over again.
Right.
Um,
Right.
we've dealt with that.
Right. We have.
We,
Me
we've
knocking
agreed
you
that
out. We dealt with that. That's true. And
move past it, Alan. I'll come and help you fix your completely destroyed Mac. And with that, he's going to stand up and like place an arm sort of on the back of his shoulder and then just sort of head over towards the pool table but just leave it at that.
as you leave, you hear him look over to the bartender and say to the bartender, that guy has like no sense of humor. And the bartender says, look, I just work here. And we're going to pivot over to you entering into the game. Lawrence, you're lining up your shot. I'm going to have you roll a reflex check. Reflex plus reflex, not a dex check. A reflex plus reflex. I'm going to set the DC here. It's a pretty difficult shot. There's so many of the stripes on the table right now that you've got to like ricochet it off the back wall, just barely nick the 8-ball to gingerly tap it into the corner pocket on the side that Willow is standing in. So it's going to be a 3d6 check. It is a 15 to make the shot. Can he do it? I'm excited. I believe. Go ahead and make the roll. Oh, that was a good roll. That was a good roll. That was a good roll. 6 plus 7. Do you want to spend an edge to reroll or even a plot point to make a narrative declaration? I mean, it's up to you. We've got those plot points.
I got more plot points than edge, but my only question is, will I scratch on based on this, or will I just, tap it and then the game goes on?
I mean, if you use a plot point to make a narrative declaration, that's your opportunity to be a game master for about 5 seconds. So you tell me, brother. You tell me.
Yeah, I'll use a single plot point.
So here's how this plays out. You make the shot. You tap the 8-ball. The 8-ball starts spinning, doing this really weird kind of spin thing, and it's ever so slightly making its way over to the corner pocket. Yinny's watching it. You're watching it. Cyprian, maybe you're even like locked in on this thing right now. And it gets just to the edge of the pocket, and you see it teeter for a second. Just teeter. And then Willow, maybe you bumped the table by mistake. I don't know. But the ball goes kabloop right into the pocket. And Yinny goes, son of a bitch! And like breaks her stick in half over her knee. And then looks at it and goes, I'll pay for it. And the bartender says, we have extras. And she looks to Lawrence with just this, how the hell are you so good at this game?
I think it's mostly because you're shit.
It's
Nobody asked.
it's not that. It's all about the angles. That's all that there is to this game.
Yeah, just angles, right? Just geometry or whatever. Yeah, lasers go straight. Shoot straight. You like curve shit, and it's weird. How did you get through? I mean,
If there's anything that I know Lawrence knows, it's how to be a straight line. The line is so straight, I think mathematicians have studied him
Was that a joke?
Possibly, it might have been, yes.
You know, I like you, Willow. All right, I guess this round's on me. What's your poison? You want another scotch, Mr. Basic, or what are we getting?
I'll switch to rum.
And she smiles. Do you want some soda in that as well, or what are we doing here?
Just straight up rum. at
God, you're
this
boring.
point.
Willow, what are you having?
Yes.
You know what? I think I'll have a Mai Tai.
Bold choice. I like it. She looks over at Callum, and Callum, are you still playing the game? Have you found some extra symbols, or are you not?
And at this point, yeah, you'll hear another outburst, but of a different tenor. At this point, Callum's beaten the game, and you just hear him go, "Yes, yes, bet you all this, get fucked."
He goes, I know his favorite drink. And just what would Callum's favorite drink be?
Let's see. What would let's call it a screwdriver.
I love it. And she's gonna go, I won't even ask. Let him have this moment. And she looks over, seeing that Cyprian already has a drink, gives you a smile, walks over to the bar. And as she walks over the bar, you hear, all of you would hear this because she's not being quiet at all. She simply says, I need you to get here right now. Look, I know, okay? I'll be to you in just a few, I need some extra time, okay? It's fine. No, Billy, it's fine. We're gonna be fine, okay? Just stay. I'll get to you. Don't come to me. I'll get to you, all right? I've just got to do this one thing, and then we're going to get off this fucking damned planet. And we're going to be fine, and we're going to start over. And Mom and Dad, they're going to be... Look, they're going to be fine, okay? Okay? Okay, I love you too. All right. And you hear a boop. And at this point, it's been long enough to where this bowler-wearing gentleman comes back in, and he's carrying this... It's like a quarter of the size of a standard suitcase. So you got a suitcase, pretty big. About a quarter. It's got a little handle, and it's got a digital lock on the top. You can see it. And he walks over and walks past everybody. You see Yinny ordering a drink. Alan is talking to her about something or another, and he comes back over, slides the
So
suitcase.
I actually,
Go ahead.
while he's coming up, because I have the entire time to figure out what direction he's going in.
Yeah.
As soon as he hits this area,
Mhm.
that's like the thinnest part of the walkway.
Yeah.
Willow is going to move by him. He's going to make it look like he's going to squeeze by, but bump his shoulder
Mhm.
into the briefcase.
Mhm.
Because Willow wants to know, like, how heavy is that briefcase? What's the weight? What's the thickness?
Fantastic. You're gonna roll streetwise because I want to see if he can pick up on what you're doing. Probably not, because that was 2 1s and a 5. But we'll see. Maybe he'll get lucky. Maybe he'll roll all ones. I don't know. Nope. Yeah. So it is. So imagine if you took imagine that it's like some cinder blocks compacted. It's so heavy that you think that girl is going to need both hands to carry it. It's probably like 30 pounds. Like, it's big. It's heavy. Hey, watch where you're walking. There's plenty of space in here. It's not very crowded.
Thought I've had a couple of drinks.
Yeah, why don't you go have a couple of drinks elsewhere? I'm trying to do business here.
So, I apologize.
Yeah, well, move on, shithead. And he's gonna walk past you unless you stop him.
No.
Perfect. He sits down, and you'll hear him as you maybe move away. All right, sweetheart. Here's the goods. And then you see him pull out a piece of paper, and he goes, and that's the address. I need you to deliver this box to that address at exactly 12 p.m. All right, that's midnight. Maybe it's a.m. Sorry, time was never my thing. But midnight tonight. That's 30 minutes from now. You deliver it, and you meet me back here. Is that understood? She's like, uh-huh. Yeah, I'll do it. And then you'll get both me and my brother onto the next dropship? Yeah. I'll get you on the dropship, sweetheart. Okay, just make sure it's gotta be there by midnight. Is that understood? And then you've moved off. But Callum, you've rejoined Cyprian, Lawrence at the pool table. What are you guys talking about?
Cyprian will be quietly thanking for punching Alan in the back of the head and generally standing up for him.
I think Callum is not really saying anything, and Callum's not Willow, so he's just like staring at this dude in the corner with the briefcase because he heard the girl say, "Then you'll get me and my brother on the next dropship." And he's now just completely focused on this back corner, not being subtle about it at all.
Okay. And that guy is sitting there. He takes a cigarette, brings it up, has a little lighter, lights it, blows out the smoke, looks at his watch, looks over at you. Something I can help you with, darling?
Maybe.
Well, why don't you slide into my office, sweetheart, and let's talk business.
That's real quick. Willow moved outside so that he could
I
intercept.
saw your character move to that point, and I assume you're probably trying to block the girl from exiting, correct?
Not from exiting the building, but yes.
To follow her? Okay, perfect. I like it. So we're gonna pivot over to Callum. So you're gonna slide into this booth and talk with this gentleman. Is that correct, Callum?
Yeah, why not?
And he takes a long drag on the cigarette. You watch as, a cigarette, there's that, like, the
ash.
Smoky ash part, draws it back. It ashes. He takes it, does a little flick onto the floor, brings it back. You don't look like the desperate type. What are you, one of them mech pilots or something?
That's right.
So what can I do for your kind?
You can tell me what you're having that young lady do for you.
And his eyes narrow, and he looks at you. That's really none of your business.
True. Just call it curiosity.
Well, you know what they say about curiosity, right?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. This cat has a 35-ton war machine that could crush you out like a cigarette.
He looks down at his cigarette. Is that supposed to scare me?
Are you supposed to scare me?
And he looks over, and I noticed that Lawrence and Callum appear to have started to kind of flank in. What's the expressions on your faces? What are you guys doing, both Cyprian and Lawrence, right now? What are you guys doing?
Lawrence.
Cyprian,
you Cyprian, you go.
So Cyprian is seeing that Lawrence had moved first, is kind of going, "Oh, okay, we're planning just in case then," and has moved around to the other side because he has at least a modicum of idea about tactics, and so he's moved around to this side.
Mm-hmm. Lawrence is for the most part just like trying to just play with his hands to make it look like he's not as expert as Willow is at not looking like he's not listening, but he's playing with the cue ball. And he's like, just like bouncing it across the billiard table.
Just like hitting the wall, coming back to him, hitting the wall, coming back to him. I like that. I like that a lot. That's really good. I love that imagery. So this guy he's really looking directly at Callum, but his eyes dart over and see the other two starting to, not flank per se, but you're in position. I like you. Not that you care that I like you, but I like you. You've got, what's the word? You've got spunk. Isn't that one of the reasons that, not reasons, that's the wrong word. It's one of the necessities that comes to being a mech pilot. You gotta have brass balls, right? You look like the type of guy that's got brass balls. How they paying you as a pilot these days? You still kind of getting the short end of the stick, or are they upped the salary, as it were?
You think I do this for money?
looking over at Lawrence and Cyprian. Get a load of this guy. Kid, you have no idea who you're fucking with. Okay, why don't you go back to your little mech bay, play your little war games, and let the real business take place here in the city. All right, you go to your ivory tower while the rest of us scrape by and try to make a living in this fucking shithole.
Well, you know what?
No, I
I'll
don't know
remember
what.
that.
Get fucked. Get the
I'll
fuck out of my
remember that
booth. Get
when
the
the
fuck out of here.
clanners come back, peel you like a grape, and I'll watch it happen.
He takes his cigarette and he flicks it at you. And I need you to go ahead, and I'm going to have you. Do you have Streetwise?
No.
I'm going to have you roll, and correct me if I'm wrong, Strom. Streetwise is charisma?
Yeah.
I want you to roll 2d6 plus charisma.
Stop asking me to roll charisma.
Absolutely not. It's hilarious.
Not being in social situations.
And I want both of the other two that are involved in this to also roll charisma plus charisma, or if you have Streetwise to do that. So that would be both Lawrence and Cyprian as well. I want to see if you guys pick up on something.
Would a protocol work?
I'm going to allow it. Absolutely. I like that.
It's not going to help me
Beautiful,
anymore.
Callum.
But
Beautiful, Callum. Very nicely done. Okay, you're not going to notice this, Lawrence. Cyprian's going to notice this. Callum, you hear the telltale sound of someone cocking back the receiver on a firearm under the table. Cyprian, you see the guy from his waist draw a gun and set it on his lap. And with that, we're going to pivot outside to the young girl exiting and Willow. Now, I want you to describe so that I understand. Were you going to like walk into her kind of like you did the other guy? Are you going to like just talk to her? I want you to kind of take the scene here and describe. So she walks out, she's holding this small briefcase in both of her hands. You exit, she's exited, and then you're standing where?
So Willow will be leaning on Willow will be leaning on the railing just around the corner from the door. And as the girl exits, he will turn around and he will like put his hand out to stop her and say, how much?
For what?
How much is he extorting you for?
What are you talking about? I have to go. I don't have much time. And you see her like look down, not at a watch, but you notice that there is a timer on that little code thing, and it's got about 15 minutes remaining, and it's about 15 minutes till midnight. I have to go. I have to get this. I have to do something. I don't have time. And she tries to push past you.
Willow will not stop her and say, come on, let's take a walk. And he'll walk
okay.
with her.
And she starts moving. And you guys head off. And she is trying to walk faster than you, but your legs are a little longer, and you're having no problem keeping up with her. And unless you talk to her, she's really not saying anything.
Oh, Willow is good at talking.
Excellent. So what is Willow saying to her?
So, how much is he extorting you for? I
Look,
heard the entire thing. You're trying to get off planet. With your
it's
brother.
nothing. We can't stay here. Things.
Listen, girl.
You've heard the rumors, I'm sure that things are bad.
Yes,
Dude can't
yes,
keep
they're
talking
bad.
like he's talking. He's gonna piss her off, and we've got to get off this planet.
Yes, I understand. And how much is it trying to cost you?
And she's gonna give you a number that is like 2 years' salary for a mech pilot in your position. Like, it's a decent chunk of change.
How long have I been a mech pilot for?
You've been in the academy for 3.5 years. So you'd know that this is like 2 years' salary. And mech pilots are paid a little bit better than your average civilian. And it's a lot of money. It's a lot. It's a lot of seat bills.
He'll say, yes. So he wanted you to do the job. That's much more than the going rate for getting off planet.
Look, not everyone has the connections that people like you do, okay? I'm trying to do what's right by me and my family. Just leave me alone. I have to get this done. And she's going to try to sprint away from you, Willow.
Yeah, He'll jog off. Jog behind. He's not gonna full sprint, but he's not gonna let her get out of his sight either.
How far behind are you lagging?
Maybe 1 second at best.
Okay. And she is trying to really make as much distance away from you as possible. And the two of you, it's about 5 minutes, so there's 10 minutes left on the timer. And she pivots down an alley, keeps running. You stay with her. The alley is very dark, and she gets to a door. And are you right next to her? Or are you gonna maybe stand off a little bit?
If she doesn't look like she's going through the door, then if she stops, she'll slow down and stay next to her.
So she doesn't look like she's going through the door. And what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna pivot you over to a different map. And I want you to see really what's going on here. So you guys are by this door. You're right here. There's a couple of these like little almost like tents for homeless folks to stay in. They've got little like sheets that are propped up against the walls. This is really a slummy area in the city. And she knocks on the door, and it's one of those it's a big steel door, and that peephole slides open. What do you want? I've got a delivery, and I was told to drop this off. Who the fuck's that? And he motions over and kind of nods his eyes over at Willow. He's a
I'm here to make sure the delivery got delivered. You got a problem with that?
Yeah, he's that. The guy narrows his eyes, and I'm gonna have you roll another streetwise check, because I think that's fantastic. And wow, 2 1s and a 3. You're gonna make that check for sure, because the dice hate the game master. Oh yeah, and he just narrows his eyes. Whoever this man is narrows them, and you hear a clink, clink, and as the door slides open, you see a really he kind of looks like a military-looking gentleman. He's got a pretty clean goatee, and I want you to go ahead and roll a... What mech-related skills do you have? Do you have anything along the lines of... Because we could do streetwise again, but I want to see if you have anything about, politics or military, anything like that.
I have gunnery, piloting, negotiation, streetwise, and support weapons.
We're going to go streetwise again, because that's the only one that really makes sense. That's fine. All right, let me roll this here really quick. Oh, you make it. Wow. Wow, the dice are in your favor tonight. You recognize this guy's, his fatigues that he's wearing. He's done his best to maybe try and hide, but underneath the overcoat, the jacket he's wearing, you recognize Palace Guard, military, colors, okay? The guy's trying to hide. He would be one of the folks that is... not a mech pilot, but one of the Palace Guard military, more like the army personnel, okay? And he looks down at the girl, slowly opens the door and reaches his hand out, and she hands him with both hands this package. At this point, there's 3 minutes left on that little timer. He takes it in, closes the door, clicks it, and then slides it open. You let him know the deal's good. Slams it shut. She lets out this very relieved sigh and pivots back. Are you done following me now?
No, not until you answer my questions. And you might want to move away from the door.
And she is going to move away. What do you mean, move away from the door, even as she starts walking away?
Well, in my experience, you don't have a package with a time on it if that timer didn't mean nothing.
What do you mean nothing? And with that, there is a concussive kaboom. As the door explodes, a gout of fire fills the entire alleyway. The building itself is wreathed in flame. The alleyway is filled with flame and fire, and it starts to push towards you both. She screams, and I'm going to have you actually go ahead and roll melee, or you could roll a reflex check, really whatever is best for you to try and maybe grab her and dive out of the way.
Yeah, I'll do a reflex.
Mm-hmm.
Play. So that would be 11.
And the check on this is going to be a 7. Perfect. So you grab her, diving to the side. Car alarms start going off. Alarms start going off. The smoke, your ears are ringing. Back in the bar, you all hear this concussive. It sounds like it's a couple of blocks off, but you hear this huge explosion. You hear the car alarms start going off, and you all realize in this moment, where the hell is Willow? Where the hell is Willow? And as that is going on, the gentleman sitting at the bar with you all gets a big smile on his face. And both Cyprian and Lawrence and Callum would hear the gun unclick and put it back in. Well, looks like the job is done. I'll see myself out. And unless you choose to stop him, the guy's going to get up and attempt to walk away.
Cyprian's going to look at the others and is like, are we letting him go? Are we not letting him go? What's the plan here, guys?
I'm gonna look at, or Lawrence is gonna look at Column and like do it like tap on the ball, like doing knock on it, and see if he nods or shakes his head. I assume that
He'll nod.
And as the guy gets up and goes to walk away,
Dry Gulch 2 Electric Boogaloo.
go for it. Go for it. Go for it.
with,
Your DC is a 13 this time. This guy's decent at combat.
Okay. I'm going to be doing it with the cue ball in my hand, like
Oof.
also going to knock him out.
Yeah, I'm going to give
So
you
I'm
an
gonna
extra
go to
plus
try.
2 on this because that's
Okay.
Violet and I like it.
So this is for melee, which is, I only have +4 to that. 4, here we go.
Oh, yes! I love it. I love it. So he gets up and he's still watching Callum, and with just a swiftness that only a mech pilot could do, you walk over and just whack, and the guy just thoops right to the ground. And as he thoops right to the ground, you see this 6-shot revolver come sliding out, like slide across the floor. Alan and Yiddy both look over. Simultaneously, that explosion in the distance goes off. Alan looks over at Lawrence, and our last line is, and I thought I had anger problems. And that's where we'll end today's session, my friends.
Woo.
Great fucking job, everybody. You guys were all on fire today. I am super impressed with that. That was awesome. And I just want to say thank you, gentlemen. I can't wait for next session. I cannot wait. I'm really excited. And for all of our viewers, I just want to say thank you so much for stopping in, and thank you so much for the support. These fine gentlemen, my friends here, will be back next Saturday at 2 p.m. again for session 3 of Salvaged Destiny, and whatever this clusterfuck is, and they'll try and figure out what the hell's going on. But very, very, very nice. Love the signature move, Lawrence. Loved it.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. Twice in one session. I think you have an MO now, and I love it. But to all of our viewers, thank you so much for sticking in. I will be back in about 4 hours for, what is it, session 11, I think, of Rise of the Rune Lords. So if you're interested in Pathfinder 1E, definitely stop back in for that. To everyone else, be well, be safe, and as I always say, happy gaming. We'll catch you next time.